Before we get started, imagine this. You have an incredible idea for an outdoor music festival that will rival the likes of Coachella, Lollapalooza, Governor's Ball, and Rolling Loud, and will be more notorious than Woodstock. You get a bunch of financial backers, including a popular rap artist, to believe in your vision. You come up with an incredible marketing plan that incorporates social media and influencer culture in a way that has never been done before. You have an incredible location. You have a lineup of great performers, and all of the tickets are completely sold out. And it fails. Your tropical location was actually at the back of a resort and included FEMA tents and poorly prepared cold food. Your performers aren't coming. Your attendees are very quickly turning on one another and vandalizing property. And with every lie you tell your investors to secure more funding, you're digging a deeper hole for yourself. One that earned you 4 years in prison and $30 million in restitution that you have to pay back to your investors. Once you're released from prison, what do? Do you get a 9-to-5 in marketing and learn coding on the side in the hopes that you'll become a developer somewhere to make a decent income while slowly chipping away at that restitution? Do you change your name and flee to a different country? Do you crowdfund your restitution balance? Or do you take advantage of your notoriety, your marketing knowledge, and current buying trends to do it all over again? And by do it all over again, I mean plan another festival for which you release very little information aside from screening applicants and causing a social media frenzy. If you're Billy McFarland, you do the last option. Because, of course, you do. From 2016 to 2017, along with other investors and marketing experts, a man named Billy McFarland planned and poorly executed Fyre Festival, which was marketed as a Caribbean festival in the Bahamas with great performances, models, private villas, just the picture of luxury. According to McFarland, Fyre was always supposed to be about creating and selling experiences, an idea that would cross over into Fyre II. He said that music was just kind of the backbone of this idea.
So Fyre is not just the music, it's like the fashion, it's the technology, it's the adventure, it's the extreme sports. Then obviously music is the backdrop while you're coming together through all these activities.
Prior to Fyre, McFarland had a couple of businesses, none of which were original and all of which were derivative, and seemed like pretty obvious cash grabs, and Fyre Festival was no exception. The living accommodations were scant. The food wasn't even soup kitchen quality. The models and musical acts were non-existent, and worst of all, it left the people and workers on Great Exuma Island in the Bahamas in a worse condition than before the festival. This isn't meant to be a comprehensive video of the first Fyre Festival. There are articles, documentaries, and video essays that I'll link below if you want more information. In 2018, McFarland pled guilty to wire fraud and was convicted. He was sentenced to 6 years but served less than 4 and now owes nearly $30 million to the investors he defrauded. Also, the Bahamas said he's not welcome there and he's a fugitive. In fact, they want to put cuffs on him. McFarland was released from prison in September of 2022 and immediately got to work on figuring out how he could separate the girls from their hard-earned coin once again. Before we continue, we have to talk about the position that McFarland is in for a minute here. Throughout this video, I'm going to call him both Billy and McFarland, so adjust your ears. McFarland owes millions of dollars that are probably accruing interest over time. When people ask him why he immediately jumped back onto social media and created a new company meant to create these tropical adventurous experiences instead of just getting a job, he always explains that he owes a lot of money to a lot of people, and so he needs to make a lot of money. Not to mention, he has a fraud conviction on his record. He can't even be a cashier at Burger King with a fraud conviction. His prospects are very limited. He's actually scheduled to get in the ring soon, which doesn't surprise me because these events make a lot of money. His event is actually being sponsored by Kraken, which is a crypto exchange app, and I wish him the best. I hope you don't get washed. Even though I'm making this entire video judging McFarland, I'm not judging him for attempting to atone for his wrongdoing or trying to pay back those that he defrauded. I'm making fun of him because he's doing it in intentionally shady ways so that he can farm clicks and engagement while making money using thinly veiled allure. Now, that's the only slack I'm cutting him. Let's get back to the video. So I have to jump in really quick just to say I found something else out. Every time that I sit down to edit this video, I find out something else. So I'm hoping that this video is coherent enough for you to follow. But apparently in August of 2023, McFarland did an interview and in some way signed a deal to turn the Fyre Festival story into a musical. I think it's clear that McFarland does not see a version of his future where he is not in the spotlight in some way. I just cut him that slack because of the restitution that he has to pay back, right? And so I am sympathetic because of that, but it seems like, and you'll see why as the video continues on, I found out some other thing. He just wants people's money. He wants people's money so bad. Pretty much as soon as McFarland was released from prison, he was back to the shenanigans. And I mean right away. Like 1 month afterward. In October of 2022, McFarland announced his new venture, Pyrt, on TikTok. So this new venture was being made in Fyre Festival's dusty ass image for some reason. In her Vulture article, Rebecca Alter called Pyrt a treasure hunt for 99 messages in bottles hidden in the Bahamas. Another article states that McFarland planned to officially launch the project with a treasure hunt, revealed through hidden clues in a memoir he would publish, telling his side of the Fyre Fest story. The global treasure hunt was intended to draw people to the Bahamas, to be followed by the building of the physical and digital architecture for a 24-villa Pyrt Cay development. Eventually, he wrote, a metaverse would be built around Pyrt, allowing millions of elevated people to digitally interact with the island paradise, changing how the virtual interacts with and affects the real world. So Billy was planning to sell you a memoir, and then somehow that memoir would encourage you to play an international ARG, which would then inspire you to purchase one of the Pyrt villas that would allow you to interact digitally and physically with the Bahamas in new ways or something? Elevated people? The success of this entire business venture rested in people's interest in Billy's side of the Fyre Festival controversy. The hubris on this guy is wow. He also maintains that he wanted to bring his events back to the Bahamas because he fell in love with the country and the people. But remember how I said that the Bahamian government is not fucking with Billy? Yeah. So that didn't come to fruition. And though this article references a site for Pyrt, it no longer exists. I also think that Billy's continued reference to the Bahamas as a paradise instead of as a legitimate country with citizens and concerns and social issues and poverty and things like this limits his view of the people there and the infrastructure there. And I think it just shows further that he sees the country, really the entire country, as a place to host events for a little bit of money and then to make more money on the back end. So 1 month after being released from prison, McFarland launches a new venture, and another month later, it fails. But McFarland wasn't done. In December of 2022, he launched Pyrt Collective, which is a marketing company. Their website, when it was up, was very minimalist and only asked you for some information about your project and your email. There are actually some comments on the Pyrt Collective Instagram reel praising McFarland for his marketing. Unfortunately, this would be the last post from Pyrt Collective as of my writing this video. And like I said, though I was able to get a screenshot of the Pyrt Collective website, it looks like it is now defunct. These coordinates also don't really lead to anything, in case you're wondering, but I'm assuming that they were a part of the ARG that McFarland was trying to organize. There's a partner Instagram account, Pyrt Crew, that was probably going to act as some sort of members only area, but it's pretty much defunct as well. Remember all of this Pyrt stuff? I'll bring it up again later. A few months went by, and in April of 2023, McFarland announced that Fyre II was happening.
Fyre Festival 2 tickets are officially on sale.
He announced that he was going to do rounds of pre-sale. He has this weird application for people to apply for tickets, and all it asks is why you want to attend. Still waiting for a response, by the way, Billy. Put a lot of time into that application. It also looks like this man, Andy King, who previously invested in the first festival, is involved with this new one. Level with me for a second. Someone help this man. This is a cry for help. If you've seen the documentaries, in one of them, King says that he was prepared to give an investor oral sex just to secure more funding for Fyre.
Billy called and said, Andy, we need you to take one big thing for the team. You're our wonderful gay leader, and we need you to go down. Will you suck dick to fix this water problem? And I literally drove home, took a shower, I drank some mouthwash. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I got into my car to drive across the island to take one for the team.
Get him help. According to a Time Out article, there were only 100 tickets in the first round of Fyre Festival pre-sale, which were sold for about $500 each and sold out in the first day. Then McFarland started using the application to vet people, or so he says. According to the Time Out article and McFarland himself, tickets would end up costing anywhere from $2,500 to $1 million a piece. According to McFarland, he did over $110 million in pre-sale for Fyre II, which is to say that he had applications for $110 million in sales, not that he actually made that much money.
And we did the second pre-sale a few weeks ago, and we took applications for tickets, and we received over $110 million of applications for people who wanted to come to Fyre II, and that included a number of people who were bidding on or applying to buy a $1 million Fyre ticket.
It's a little weird to me because the application doesn't ask you what kind of ticket you want or what your budget is, so I don't know how he got that number. But again, remember that. We'll come back to it. Now, with Fyre II, Billy is responsible for marketing and stunts. His words, not mine. While he's trusting professionals to plan the logistical side of the festival and to manage the money.
And the big difference this time is that there are operational partners who are in charge. So I'm in my marketing box. I can kind of create the wildfire moments, but if you see me installing bathrooms, something's wrong this time. They're letting me do the marketing, letting me bring people together and create really fun experiences, but we have partners who are actually in charge of all the operations.
By stunts, he's referring to zero-gravity flights and underwater concerts and other things that sound like they cost a lot with little payoff. Now, I wasn't privy to the online details regarding the first Fyre while it was being advertised, but since I hopped on the Fyre II advertising, we can see all of the careless mistakes Billy has been making from the beginning. So let's get into the reasons why you should under no circumstances trust Billy McFarland and buy tickets to Fyre II. Stop it. Put a picture of Julius from Everybody Hates Chris in your wallet if you have to. Don't be foolish. First, I'm a sucker for good website copy. I worked as a freelance copywriter for a while, so I pay attention to the copy on websites and advertisements. If the word sounds unfamiliar to you, copy is just any writing on a website or advertisement. Usually there's going to be some sort of marketing writer or copywriter that you're going to hire to do those things. They can optimize it for you to make sure that you pop up in search engine results and all of that good stuff. They can also just make your copy really efficient and consistent. The first thing I noticed on the Fyre Festival 2 site was that this post says that the event is scheduled for December of 2024. However, in this post, it says that the festival is scheduled for winter of 2025. You can look at this screenshot that I found on a different article from a woman who reached out to Billy saying that she was interested in going to one of his events in August of 2023. We'll talk about the events in a second. But he ghosted her, and then he gave her complimentary tickets to Fyre II. And this is the screenshot of what the information that was given to her in terms of location and timing. So as you can see, it still just doesn't add up. This is a small issue that's indicative of much larger issues. If I'm planning a huge concert, I'm going to be charging hundreds or thousands or millions of dollars for others to attend. I'm gonna know the year that it's happening. That's just the beginning. The marketing sucks. To be clear though, this is on purpose. A big part of the marketing is taking advantage of Fyre Festival's previous controversy.
I effed around, and because of that, I definitely found out.
McFarland even posted about the pretty recent Wonka events that went viral for being underwhelming to throw his name and the second festival into the conversation. Even outside of the website copy, the marketing just isn't very engaging or eye-catching, nor is it consistent. Links on the site redirected to Billy's social media at some point, but it does look like they might have fixed that, but the website isn't really pleasing. The social media is practically blank. If Billy's in charge of marketing, he's not doing a good job. There's no lineup or location. This is self-explanatory. Y'all don't even know who you're paying to see or where you're going. The location just says the Caribbean Sea. Is this where y'all going? Right here? Please. Okay, for real. This shit is not adding up. They're advertising these like incremental events between now and Fyre II that are, I guess, meant to boost hype for Fyre II, but they're not really advertising them. On their Instagram, they have this Fyre survival training event that took place in November. It looks like one of those fake listening parties from Love and Hip Hop, but according to McFarland, it was like zero-gravity flights and stuff. He even had Capella Gray come to the event. It all looks mismatched to me, and Capella Gray may have posted something about this event on his Instagram, but as of me drafting this script, there's nothing here. It would be in this area. I don't see anything. This video caption claims that the next survival training event was scheduled for January of 2024, but as you can see, it doesn't look like it happened. Otherwise, they would post something about it, right? On their website, they have tickets for a yacht party and a dinner of some sort, but they aren't cross-promoting this to Instagram at all. Billy isn't promoting them on his Instagram either. These events are very soon. It is actually 4 a.m. on May 25th as I'm recording this. and there's no word on who the performers are or what the Fyre moment is, nor are they talking about how many slots they have left to boost interest. So let's take a closer look at these events. So for the Fyre and Friends event, you can pay $250 for the privilege of having dinner with Billy McFarland and his friends, which he calls his crew. You'll have the opportunity to swap tales, ask burning questions, and dive deep into the wild ride of creating Fyre Festival, because that's worth $250. And to be clear, $250 likely doesn't include the price of dinner. The site says your ticket scores you a seat at the table where you'll enjoy dinner and drinks alongside Billy and his crew, the Pyrt crew, perhaps. So no dinner is included in the price. And that's not all. Apparently there are add-on packages that give you the opportunity to hang out with more celebrities that don't have names. They also include this bit in the website copy. This is your chance to dine with the legends behind one of history's most infamous events as they aim to go bigger and make things right. This is what's called a pathos appeal, appealing to the potential consumer's emotions, beliefs, and values. Don't you want to dine with legends? Don't you want to help him make things right? As if this wasn't shady enough, the site says that at the time I'm typing this, which was on the 22nd of May, there were 75 early bird tickets and 80 standard tickets for the event. So the event is around the corner and you can still get early bird and standard tickets. Okay, and then there are no extra perks with the standard tickets or with the early bird tickets. The early bird tickets are just $50 cheaper. So never mind the fact that the only difference between these two tickets is the price. Is Billy planning to sit at a table with 155 people plus his group of friends? Because the site literally describes this as an intimate event. The photo on the site looks like an intimate event. In contrast, the yacht party has only 100 tickets available, so he's inviting more people to dinner than he is to the yacht. I'm recording this portion on Sunday, May 26th at 3 a.m. I just wanted to double back and see if you could still buy tickets, whether for the Memorial Day yacht party after the so-called event has passed. And it looks like they took down the listing, so you can't buy tickets anymore. At least they did that. However, I feel very confident that the yacht party didn't actually take place, not only because they didn't post anything about it, advertise it anywhere, etc., but also because according to this story that Billy McFarland posted, he's actually in Austin at an event right now and continuing to prepare for his fight. Let's look at some of the comments to see how people feel about this survival training event. Though McFarland is claiming all these potential sales and applications, there are no comments defending him. There are comments showing excitement for the survival training event, but none of these are on the Fyre Festival page. Instead, they're on the pages of individual people that were hired to work the event or were in attendance at the event in a different capacity. There are some comments on the Fyre page with some fire emojis, so encouraging, but in an ambiguous way. This whole damn thing to go up in flames, who knows? One of the more frequent fire emoji commenters is this guy named Mike Falb, who is also followed by the Fyre page, the Pyrt Collective page, and McFarland's Instagram. And this is where things get interesting. Mike Falb is an investor or former investor and business partner of Billy McFarland. And in 2023, he was named in a lawsuit by a man named Jonathan Taylor, who McFarland met in prison. Taylor alleges that Billy and Mike are on the hook for $740,000 plus fees for not giving him the promised amount of equity in Pyrt, aka fraud. Here's what the summons says. Defendants McFarland and Falb directed plaintiff to make payments to defendant Falb's company, 1A Entertainment LLC, in order to avoid some direct payments to defendant McFarland because defendant McFarland was, and still is, subject to supervised release from the United States Bureau of Prisons and the United States Department of Probation for the Eastern District of New York, and to allow defendant McFarland to avoid having to report receipt of those funds to probation. Plaintiff made payments to 1A Entertainment LLC and the defendants directly as directed. Defendants thereafter refused to grant plaintiff the bargain for equity interest or to return plaintiff's funds despite demands therefore. The lawsuit alleges that McFarland told Taylor the following things, some of which are directly contrary to what we already know. Defendant Billy McFarland had significant support in the Bahamas with various businessmen and women for a return on investment to include another festival featuring a high-tech treasure hunt. We know this is false because he's literally a fugitive in the Bahamas. Defendant Billy McFarland claimed to have $6 million in capital reserves from his own funds and investors who were going to financially fund Pyrt business activities. We may not know anything about his investment, investors. But it's safe to say that he likely didn't have $6 million in capital that he could liquidate. Otherwise, he would likely be using that to begin paying his restitution. Defendant Billy McFarland had entered into a $2 million book deal to publish the Fyre Festival story and was going to realize a $1 million advance on the book deal upon his release. Now, I'll say this. I worked in publishing on and off for several years now, and a deal like that is not unheard of. A lot of people think that publishing and the writing of books is this noble thing. It's not. It's a business, and publishers want to make money. And so that deal is not unheard of, but I'll hold off my judgment on that until we get to the rest. Finally, the lawsuit said, defendant Billy McFarland had various media contacts and opportunities to promote himself and the Pyrt activities for free publicity. This might be the truest statement out of all four of them, because Billy McFarland did go on a whole social media tour after he was released from prison, and websites and outlets were all too ready and willing to interview him. To be clear though, this was likely just people in media, social media, entertainment news, and podcasting just trying to look for something that they could use to get clicks. This was likely not because he had pre-established deals with these people or anything like that. He probably got out of jail, said, hey, I'm the fucking fire fraud guy. I'm the fucking fire fraud guy. Do you want to interview me? Do you want to be one of the first to hear about this new fucking scam I'm promoting? Allegedly. Now, the summons that Taylor filed says that all four of these things were a lie and that Billy had none of these things. Taylor also alleged that McFarland had him pay a sum of money in cryptocurrency cash in hand and through apps like Venmo to avoid tipping off his probation officer, and made thousands of dollars in personal purchases on Taylor's American Express card. The summons also states that when McFarland was released from house arrest in September of 2022, he and Fyre cut ties with Taylor completely. Allegedly, September of 2022 was when Pyrt was actually incorporated. So Taylor was paying all of this money to Fyre and McFarland prior to a business even existing. And I'm not sure how much you guys know about filing paperwork for businesses. It doesn't take a long time, nor is it very expensive. So, not looking good, Billy. These are the only court filings I could find, and it seems like Taylor is entitled to a default judgment, at least according to the initial summons. Maybe there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. I'm not sure, but I wanted to make sure that I mentioned this. Actually, I do know more. So in this Billboard article that was put out in October of 2023, it talks about how Billy sort of evaded this lawsuit with Taylor. Even though he didn't give Billboard any sort of comments about the summons, we do have this information. So apparently, McFarland wrote a letter to his attorney that said that when he met Taylor in prison, Taylor misrepresented what he'd been charged and convicted for, and that was why Billy felt like it was an alright idea to make a business tie with this man. He said, I'm uncomfortable having any association with Mr. Taylor. After receiving the documents from his attorneys on Saturday, I acted swiftly and scheduled a meeting with Mr. Taylor on Monday. I proceeded to meet with him yesterday, and I notified him that we must sever ties. So after Taylor demanded his damn money back, McFarland denied that and said that he'd already spent the money, but he did offer to pay Taylor $1 million to buy out his equity interest in Pyrt by making payments in the amount of 5% of its gross revenues up to $1 million. So that's not necessarily a guarantee. Taylor rejected this and said, I actually just want the money that I gave you, which amounts to about $640,000 loan, and then $5 million that was paid out over a 2-year period. And so I guess that money is what McFarland and Fyre were taking through Venmo payments and direct payments to Fyre's company. So McFarland did not respond to that counteroffer, nor did he respond to any further communication from Taylor or his attorneys. Pretty much as soon as he left Taylor in the dust, he put a stop to Pyrt and turned his attention back onto Fyre. Suspicioso. The Pyrt Collective page also follows this Build Your Own AI Partner app, and in their only post, here's McFarland in the comments on his personal account, and then the Pyrt and Fyre accounts as well. The man in the video for the AI app is an investor and founder of a couple businesses listed here. So it seems like McFarland does have a small network of investors that he can pull on, whether that's good or bad, but whether those investors are trustworthy is something else. Remember, Fyre was also named in the lawsuit. Here are some other things that don't line up. There's Fyre Festival merch. You didn't know that? Yeah, how could you? They don't advertise this garbage, and social media was such a big part of the push for the first Fyre Festival, and Billy is really trying to boost his own cred on social media. So why are the Fyre Festival pages practically blank, except for this one event that wasn't properly advertised and barely attended? According to that interview with The Sun, McFarland hosted an event with Red Bull after their survival training.
Then in Miami a few weeks ago, we did helicopter jumps with the Red Bull dive team to basically see how we can go in the helicopter, jump out, and then did a small underwater concert.
This event that he's referring to actually would be the January 13th event highlighted on Fyre II's Instagram post. However, I wasn't able to find anything about this anywhere. I couldn't find social media posts, landing pages, or anything else suggesting a link between McFarland or Fyre and Red Bull. The Red Bull cliff diving team is real. They have a very pronounced social media presence, and if they were to post a clip or an image referencing an event with Fyre, it would be in this area, and it is not. Finally, McFarland himself said that there's potential for this event to crash and burn. I also wanted to come back and just quickly read you this vapid, self-important quote from McFarland. It says, "I'm a master at raising the tide, and I've already created a tidal wave. As demonstrated throughout history, the business opportunity is to steer our ship dead center into the wave and use its push to conquer the market." Theoretically, there's potential for every business venture or event to crash and burn. But don't tell me that. I thought you wanted my money. What the? There are other things I could highlight, but I'll leave it here. Don't spend your money on this. I have a theory about Fyre II and why things are so under wraps. Of course, Billy has a previous wire fraud conviction, which will impact how potential investors look at him and this new event. So I think that he's getting the money from you, and the amount of money he gets will determine what kind of show he's able to produce. Remember earlier we found that McFarland claimed that he'd already gotten applications for $110 million in tickets for Fyre II. We also said that didn't make sense. How the hell will you know that? But fine. McFarland's ability to market a product, even when there's virtually no product, and to get people to spend money on it, was never up for debate. He's very good at that. What's up for debate is whether he's going to deliver. That's where the fraud comes in. So ideally, if he gets you to spend a bunch of money on nothing that will take place nowhere, he doesn't have to deliver on anything. Or he can half-ass a festival like he did the first time. But since there are no promises of models and villas, you kind of get what you get. Perhaps there are some legal things in the way of that, but who's to say that he didn't bake that into the terms you agreed to upon purchasing the ticket? This is also just a way for him to show potential investors that he can convince people to spend money, even though his credibility is in the toilet. Investors are not dumb. They got bit once and wouldn't throw their hat in the ring without a guaranteed ROI. Unless you're Andy King.
And we need you to go down. Will you suck dick?
Get him some help. Seriously, I'm worried for him. But consumers are dumb. And while stupidity is one of the reasons people bought these tickets, seriously, it's a legitimate reason. I'll even explain it. It isn't the only reason. I could only find one verified report of tickets actually being purchased for Fyre II. They were purchased by a couple that was interviewed by CBS. Apparently their tickets cost about $5.50 each, so they probably bought them during that first wave. When asked why the hell they would do this, they said, if anything, it'll just be a really cool vacation. We're gonna stay optimistic, but we're gonna expect that there may be some cheese sandwiches. No matter your personal thoughts on their reasoning for purchasing their tickets, this couple is engaging in what is called doom spending, which has increased dramatically since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. People refer to doom spending as retail therapy or emotional spending, so spending in spite of the doomed state of the world, but I think of it as spending because of the doomed state of the world. Rather than thinking, I'll buy this first class ticket even though I haven't met my savings goal this month, it's more like, it feels like the world is crumbling and won't be here in 5 years, so I might as well take a first class flight instead of meeting my savings goal this month. It seems more like YOLO than anything else, which is a perfect reason to buy some dumb shit like a Fyre Festival 2 ticket. I'm a sucker for a good redemption arc, and I'd be willing to bet that you are as well. This article called Why We Need Redemption Stories reads, we need them to help us see the potential in others and ourselves to grow, move beyond our mistakes, and not let past actions hold us back. If others are worthy of redemption, then we might be as well. The court of public opinion is extremely harsh, which has a lot to do with the anonymity of internet discourse. Since the internet never forgets, our understanding of redemption and who is deserving of redemption is different than it used to be. This, combined with distrust of the justice system, means that people take it as their responsibility to carry out punishment. I'm not here to say whether or not that's right, just that it occurs. And wherever there's one opinion, The opposite isn't far away, which is why even the most salacious offenders will have supporters advocating for their redemption. And finally, if there's even the slightest chance that Fyre II could be a runaway success and redeem Billy McFarland's bank account and reputation, people are going to want to be in attendance. If there's a chance that this will be a disaster that can mean widespread social media coverage and multiple viral moments, people are going to want to be in attendance. I'm not the kind of person that McFarland wants to come to this festival. I'm broke, I'm anti-capitalist, I'm a perpetual college student. I'm not even really on social media. I just post on this site when I feel like it. So when I say I'm not going to the festival, he does not give a shit. But someone is going to go to this festival. Someone will buy into the exclusivity or the luxury of what McFarland is offering. And maybe they'll get scammed. Maybe they'll get exactly what they're asking for. Who knows? In future videos, I'm going to discuss the pathologizing nature of social media and how shitty it is. So I'm not going to pathologize Billy or attempt to find reasons outside of what I've already laid out for his at times questionable actions. All I can do is implore you to think. Think before you speak, act, and spend. I wanted to come back and say this. I would love to be proven wrong about this. As vapid and useless as I think McFarland's ideas are, because they depend on exclusivity and promote living a performative lifestyle, I would like to see this actually happen. At times when Billy talks about his sprawling and elaborate ideas, they sound cool, but like in the way that a toddler's idea for a crazy roller coaster ride with sharks and shit sounds cool. Which is to say that they sound like ideas grounded in the imagination and not in reality, and they somehow still manage to seem derivative. But I love when people follow through and do what they said they were gonna do and give people what the fuck they paid for. So I'd love to see this come to fruition, but only time will tell.